I selected Step-by-Step Counseling to do my discussion post on today. Step-by-Step Counseling is based out of North Carolina, just kind of outside of Raleigh. The counselor I'll be discussing today is Counselor Fales, who has a Master's of Science and is a licensed professional counselor in the state of North Carolina, and is also the owner of Step-by-Step Counseling. I believe the form that I read over was very informative and, in my opinion, met the grand scheme of both the ACA Code of Ethics and the North Carolina State Board. It was constructed in an order that allowed for clients to quickly understand and locate any information they needed. The form began with a brief introduction that explained both what kind of would be happening throughout the form, but also more importantly, the importance of signing the form and understanding exactly what was going on. The types of clients specialized here at Step by Step are clients dealing with anxiety, depression, life changes, grief and loss, and self-awareness concerns. Cognitive behavior therapy is the main approach that's used here at Step by Step. She offers counseling services that allow for the alignment of the mind, body, and soul. She also gives optional counseling through biblical and Christian perspectives. In reference to the ACA Code of Ethics, Section A of the Code of Ethics discusses the counseling relationship, which, in my opinion, this form does a great job of reiterating the Code of Ethics in multiple ways, not just Section A. The form explains to clients that their rights as laid out in the Code of Ethics. The form was, however, lacking in one area as far as the Code of Ethics is concerned. It says this practice is in reference to Section 8.3, which states, when counselors learn that their clients are in professional relationships with other mental health professionals, they request release forms from clients to inform the other professionals and strive to establish positive and collaborative professional relationships. While this doesn't necessarily have to be in the informed consent form, I do believe that it's important at least to acknowledge so that clients will be aware that this may be an issue in the future. So I think that if anything was lacking in the Code of Ethics area, it would be this section, because she doesn't specifically acknowledge this. The North Carolina State Board specifically lists 10 requirements for counseling for informed consent forms. The form is, again, well-structured and went above and beyond the requirements of both the ethics and board's rules. However, point 4 and 10 were vague, in my opinion. The number of years counseling was not specifically listed. She did provide her graduation year and the licensee number, so I'm sure if you wanted to, if the client wanted to, would definitely be able to find out exactly how long. But I do think, as opposed to just blatantly putting it out there, she gave a roundabout answer to the years, which obviously is fine. Both licensee and client should have signature locations on the form to be 100% compliant, and the form that I looked at only had a signature for the client, and I think that may be important to add also, just so that the client understands that both you and for a legal setting, it may be important for both the client and the licensee's signature to be on there. I appreciated how the informed consent form discussed referrals for if the client relationship was not working, the interactions and how they'll be handled in public. So if the client were to ever see their counselor, would they want to be acknowledged? Do they want to talk? The licensee did acknowledge that they won't speak and also won't introduce the client if they're with someone else. And I thought that was really important to acknowledge, because that may not be something that everyone's fully aware of, that maybe you don't want everyone to know you're in counseling, or maybe everyone isn't deserving of the right to know you're in counseling. Brimley also states that termination is an intentional process that occurs over time when a client has achieved most of their treatment goals, and it provides opportunity for consolidating and generalizing client gains made in counseling. The last thing I would add to this form, it doesn't acknowledge termination. And while termination does not have to be a grueling process, I think it is definitely an important part of the process. And so, if anything, I would add that to this informed consent form. Thank you for your time.